Sunday, June 14th, 2020, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So hopefully everyone can hear me well. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. I'm just going to close my email so I don't get any notifications. So yeah, gold and silver are not trades. Yeah, you can trade paper, ETF. You can trade the mining stocks, and I do hold mining stocks. But I think now more than ever, the most important thing is to realize that gold and silver are actually money, and they're going to act as insurance policy for the current mayhem, in my opinion, that is going on with the monetary system. Well, you could even say we haven't had a real monetary system. Some people would say that we've had a non-system since Richard Nixon came out on a Sunday like today, August 15th, 1971, and he actually said that the U.S. Treasury was, how can I say, withholding the convertibility of the dollar temporarily, right? They're going to stop the convertibility of the dollar temporarily. And ever since then, almost 50 years ago, we haven't had a monetary system. Yes, they've been able to keep it going. Some people would say, you gold bugs have been wrong. You know, they've kept it going. But you look back then, for $35, you could get an ounce of gold. Now you need 1,730 or thereabouts. Well, that's the paper price, of course. I was listening to Bill Holter on Greg Hunter's, I think it was yesterday. The premium right now is $100 to $150. So you need over $1,800. So yeah, the gold bugs maybe have been wrong about the timing of the collapse of the non-system, because that's what we have. But they're not wrong about the fact that it's a non-system and that it will eventually collapse. And that's why you need gold and silver as an insurance. Yeah, I do look at the gold price every day. I won't lie to you. I'll be honest with you. And I think all of us do, a lot of us gold bugs. But I don't think it's something we should worry about. Anyway, so we've got quite a few people here already, 156. Typical Brian, thank you for the super chat donation. Gold teeth. I don't think I have any gold teeth, but Pablo Pina's here. I saw that Graham Hobbs is here. Hi, Graham. Nice to see you. Pat is here. Hello, Mario. How's London lockdown going this coming week? Yeah, tomorrow a lot of the non-essential shops are supposed to open, but I think they're really ingraining a new world here in the UK about social distancing. Right now, there's a lot of debate whether we should shorten the distance from 6 feet to 3 feet or 2 meters to 1 meter. I think it's all psychological. And unfortunately, I also think I'm seeing a lot of stories about a second wave. We're seeing China. There's stories about China as well. And even in the US and Florida, I think they will bring a second wave. And I think there will be another stock market crash soon. And the central banks are going to do even more and more issuance of credit. And I don't want to say it money, because it's not really money. It's more credit and debt. And that's why you need to keep a hold of your precious metals. No, hi, No, nice to see you here. Billy's here today. We had a nice day, Billy and I and my wife. we're out in the garden having a drink and just chatting. We had some steak for dinner, so it was really nice. And I played golf this morning as well. So I think, despite the fact that the world has gone mad, I think people need to stick to their lives, and try to ignore all the noise, because the world's still a good place. And I think, and I'm not immune to it either. I read about a lot of things and watch videos that make me upset, but we just need to keep going. And precious metals, I still believe it is a good thing to have to protect us financially. Of course, as Lindsay Williams said years ago, when the crisis comes, and I think we are in the crisis now, he said it's not just going to help you having precious metals. You need to be well spiritually with yourself, and I think that's important as well. And I'm not going to preach here about spirituality. It's up to the individual to decide how well they are going to be spiritually, but I think that's really important as well. So let's have a look at a few questions. No high tea. I'm having a coffee right now with one of my mugs. It's my only physical gold and silver will slay the central bank's mug. Just the instant coffee. My wife always found it strange because she's English, I'm Brazilian. A lot of people ask her, oh, he must really like coffee. He must be a really good dancer, samba. But no, I hate carnival, I hate samba, and I drink instant coffee. So that's the joke here in my house. October or November for the crash, Graham Hobbs says. No says mash the like button. Yeah, that helps. SW Gagmanarino said gold going down because everyone investing stock market with QE on the rise. Well, I checked out the Fed's balance sheet. Actually, QE is actually tapering almost. It's rising. It's kind of tipping down the Fed's balance sheet. So unless the Fed picks up the pace, I'm not too sure about the stock market, really. I did a video at the end of March saying that we could have a rebound for 13 weeks. And I'm not a psycho specialist, but I did a little bit of analysis with 1929 and what's going on today. And I came to the conclusion we could see the stock market rally for another 13 weeks. And this coming week is the 13th week. We've seen a little bit of volatility last week. We had a almost 2,000 point drop in the Dow on Thursday. We rebounded on Friday. So I think I like watching Greg Manarino, but I don't agree with everything he says. I think it's important, like I said, not to worry about the price of gold. You need to have gold because it's going to get harder and harder to get the real thing. And unless, of course, you need it as an emergency to sell the gold, to spend the money, then you have to do it, of course. And I've done it in the past, and I didn't care what the price was. So, yeah, you just have to keep trying to stack it, in my opinion. Pablo says Billy has his martini shaken, not stirred. Yeah. Yeah, the thing about 13, I got that number by looking at how long the rally took in 1929 from the November low to I think about April. And then I cut it by 2/3 because the drop this year was much faster than the drop in 1929. And I came to 13 weeks. And I remember in the markets, a lot of times we talked about 13 because it's a Fibonacci number. Fibonacci number starts 0, 1, and then you add 0 to 1, you get 1. You add 1 to 1, you get 2. And 2 to 1, you get 3. 3 to 2, 5. 5 to 3, 8. and then 8 to 513. So 13 is a Fibonacci number. So yeah, it could be that after the 13th week, we could see the market turn around, but we'll have to wait and see. That's the stock market, of course. Tony, why do you think it could go another 13 weeks up? Yeah, Tony, I just explained it. 13 weeks from the end of March, which the 13th week is right this coming week right now for me. I saw that just because I think in 1929, it took more than 13 weeks. I forgot how long it took for the market to rebound and then come back down. But as this time around, the crash was much quicker than in 29. I cut the rally by the the amount of time that it took this year for the stock market to crash, and it gave me 13 weeks. I think Charles Nanner, he's got end of June, so maybe a week or 10 days after me. He thinks we're going to come back down. So who knows? Trump is now, yeah, I saw that. It's Trump's birthday today, 14th of June. Tomorrow is my daughter's birthday. And she told me as well that tomorrow is Xi Jinping's birthday, Winnie the Pooh, the president of China. That's his birthday as well. So yeah, some important birthdays. 888 months. That's right. That's the 3/8. The Chinese are into their eights as well. They like the 5/8. It's infinity. BIS supplying market with gold. Yeah, I heard that. I think the BIS they're used as an intermediary, so it's probably the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England and the ECB through the BIS. I know the BIS have an account with the CME or COMEX. So yeah, it's been done maybe through the BIS. We can't really tell. This is just guesswork, but it would be the central banks because the BIS is the banker for the central banks. Thank you, Graham. Yeah, she's gonna her birthday tomorrow, Annabelle's birthday. You're welcome, Aaron. Mayweather Financial Group, America will never let gold go to 2000. Well, I'm not sure. What do you mean by America? I don't think America controls the gold price. It's more the bankers in New York and London that do. I think it suits the bankers sometimes to let gold go up. If they could control the gold price for completely, we would still be at $35 an ounce. And I think they might want to let the gold price go up. And the other thing I've been hearing from people is about rising food prices. I think that's a worry as well. Yeah, the U.S. Treasury, the official price for gold is $42.22. That's right. Hard Rock, is it better to buy 4 quarter-ounce gold coins instead of a single 1 ounce? You're probably better off buying a 1 ounce. You probably pay less premium by buying just 1 ounce coin. That's what I would say. Golden Gate, why doesn't anyone explain how the BIS controls all the central banks and are the real culprits? You have, but most do not. They blame the Federal Reserve. Well, that's because they haven't looked at the history and they haven't looked at the BIS, and I do. I've referenced the Tower of Basel by Adam Libor many times, and yeah, the BIS is like the like OPEC. but for money. So they are the BIS is like a cartel for the bankers, for the central banks. I agree with you. Well, and why don't other people mention that? I'm sure other people in the alternative mention that, but you will never hear that, of course, from the mainstream media, from Bloomberg or CNBC or Fox Business or the Wall Street Journal or the FT, because they're all part of the same group. They're the globalists. They're the same people that go to Davos, the same people that run the World Economic Forum. They want to keep people blind about the money. And I think that's why I do my videos, because we have so many distractions out there, especially today in this day and age. And most people don't even look at money. And money is so important, not because I'm greedy, but because it's half of every transaction that people do in their lives. You need money, and that's why it's so important. SACO, I'd really like to know your thoughts about permanent portfolio as general guides. Not really sure what you mean by permanent portfolios. Do you mean that you keep a certain portfolio of assets and you always you never change them? I'm not sure. You need to be a little more specific. I've never heard of the term permanent portfolios. So, yeah, the title of the live stream says that gold and silver are not trading instruments, even though we are pushed to trade gold and silver as if they were just another trading instrument. And it doesn't make sense, especially nowadays that we're seeing what's happening. The central banks and governments are, they are increasing the debt and the credit exponentially. We need to have precious metals. It's insurance. It's real money. We don't have a monetary system, as I said earlier. So I think a really great book to reference today is A Pocketbook of Gold, here by Jim Sinclair and Peter Carling. Here's the book. And I'm going to go, yeah, I do listen to Michael Pinto. So this is what Jim Sinclair says about gold as insurance. The primary reason to own gold is that it maintains value, especially during times of political. So we do have political crisis right now, I would say, everywhere. Economic and currency related crisis. In short, it operates as insurance. That includes, but is not limited to, insurance against political uncertainty and economic disorder, as well as insurance against the whims of central banks and their tendency towards money printing. So I think this is really important. They wrote this book 10 years ago, but it's taking long. But it doesn't mean to say it's wrong. We just need to be patient. It's just insurance. It's like having insurance for your house, contents insurance, or fire insurance, or if you have a boat, you have insurance as well. If your boat, if you have your boat sinks, or there's a storm, you always need insurance. And I think gold and silver are really key, especially nowadays. I think the system is really fragile right now. Sean Hopkins says, treat people like mushrooms, keep them in the dark, and feed them. Yeah, that's what they do. Ollie Bob says, would it not be therefore sensible to trade gold silver ratio? You can trade the gold silver ratio, but if you really trade the physical gold and the silver, it doesn't really pay off, because the premium for silver is a lot higher than the premium for gold. Of course, you can do the paper trading for the gold silver ratio, but what's the point of making profit in dollars? Yeah, you can still make a profit in dollars, but in the long term, you really want to have precious metals because the dollar is going to be worthless like all the other currencies. And my feeling is that they're setting us up for another second wave of this health crisis. And when that happens, we're going to have even more money printing. So, and the second time, well, when this second wave comes, I think it will make March seem like a picnic, in my opinion. And in March, no one could get precious metals. It was completely impossible to get precious metals. So I think we still have a window of opportunity here for the precious metals. MDS 8168, do you buy platinum as well? No, I've never bought platinum. Platinum is a precious metals, but is not a monetary metal. I stick to gold and silver. SG Hunter, untraceable Bitcoin on the internet. No way. There's always a ledger. Well, Bitcoin is on the blockchain. It's open source. And if you want to convert it to fiat to spend it, yeah, nowadays, all the exchanges, all the cards like Wirex or other cards, um, they track you. They want they're following all the rules like know your client, anti money laundering rules. So unless you're able to exchange use Bitcoin directly to buy goods and services with someone that doesn't want the fiat, it's very hard. Danza, what are your thoughts about Ripple? Yeah, I think Ripple is more of a banker cryptocurrency. I have had Ripple in the past. I got rid of it about a year ago, and I see that like other cryptocurrencies, really, it's not really going anywhere. It's around 20 cents. Seems to be stuck there. I'm not getting involved in Ripple. The unspoken Scott, I fear this is the plan. David Icke wasn't wrong. I used to think he was a nut. I agree with you. I agree with you. I think what didn't help him was that he said that people were lizards. That didn't help his cause. But I think the fact that about a week or 10 days ago, you had the CEO and founder of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. He came out with Prince Charles. He also did like a conference. I think it was for the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, which was hosted by Boris Johnson, the prime minister here. And they had all these people. They even had President Trump. And this guy, Klaus Schwab, and Prince Charles said, with this crisis, with the CV-19, we're going into a new world order, a great reset, the fourth industrial revolution. I hope they don't succeed. And if they succeed, this kind of world won't last that long. Klaus Schwab and the people from Davos, because that's what the World Economic Forum is, they're calling for genetic modification. They're calling for the melding of human beings with machines and technology. And I don't like that. And I think they're succeeding right now, but I hope they don't. And I think that's the other reason you need to have precious metals, because these people depend on us staying in their paper system, spending the money, borrowing and spending, and taking on more debt. But if a few of us boycott this system and uh, kind of inform people about it, I think it will go a long way to kind of to cut their funding. So that's the other reason why I think you should hold physical gold and silver outside the system. Of course, you need some fiat to function every month to pay your expenses, but if you can, get out of the system. Uh, Jim Sinclair, he warned about this years ago. He called it GOTS, GOTTS, get out of the system. Or, yeah, that's what he said. That's why trading is a dangerous game, because you don't know when this system will really blow up. And I think we're very close to it. Cynthia Estrada, where to buy gold and silver? Well, I'm in the UK. I'm in London. I have some. I have a promo code for physical gold and silver with gold investments. It's in the description below. You get a discount if you go to them. I also have a referral code with Glint. Glint, they keep your gold in Switzerland for you, so you don't get the physical gold. Some people prefer the physical gold. And you should also do your homework. Just look for dealers online if you can get a better deal than gold investments. Uh, they will ship anywhere in the world, gold investments, and they've done a good job even in March when there's a shortage of gold. Cupid stunt, food shortages. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of people talking about that. There's a good YouTube channel, Dr. Vernon Coleman. He's an English doctor. He's been writing books exposing governments and the pharmaceutical companies since the 70s. So he's banned from mainstream media, even though he used to write for major newspapers. Dr. Vernon Coleman. And recently he's talking about the food shortages. And I've heard from some of the people that listen to my videos that they're seeing food prices increase quite a bit here in the UK. So I think that is a possibility next, higher food prices. We've also been listening or hearing stories about locusts breaking out in Africa, West Africa. So that's not good. So yeah, am I prepping with food? Not yet, but I'm aware that it's a possibility. But yeah, and I think food prices could go a lot higher. Lily Robin says, I like Glint. I keep about 2 ounces with Glint. I figure if gold goes sky high, I will have a credit card with lots of dollars on it. Yeah, that's the way I look at Glint as well. I prefer having the physical, but I have a little bit with Glint. And Glint will also deliver to you if you want. I think they do a minimum of 10 grams of gold physical. So they will deliver. Graham Hobbs thinks food shortages will come in October and November, possibly. SACO, permanent portfolio, was designed back in the 70s for recession, prosperity, deflation, inflation. Divide the capital in four: 25% gold, 25% long bonds, 25% short term bonds. I mean, it sounds all right. That sounds like a good balanced portfolio. Maybe instead of the long bonds, I'd put 50% in the short-term bonds, because I think long bonds are way overvalued. Interest rates are really low. I don't think they could go further down, but longer term, I think interest rates are going to go higher. Phoenix FP40, thank you for the super chat. If banks fail, will Glint MasterCard still work? Well, the thing about Glint is that if you keep your money in Glint in fiat money or in dollars or euro or pounds, it will be with Lloyd's Bank here in the UK, and I think it's another bank in the US. I forgot the name of the bank in the US. But even if Lloyd's Bank, for example, fails in the UK, I think your money will be protected. But if you keep your money in Glint in gold, it will be uh, in a vault in your name in Switzerland. So it will have nothing, even if Lloyd fails, it doesn't really matter because you've got it in gold. I forgot the name of the bank in the US that they keep the money with. So as long as you keep it in gold, it doesn't really matter because Glint is not a bank. Glint is just a company that allows you to deposit gold. Yes, it has an account with Lloyd's, and you will have an account with Lloyd's if you want to put that money into fiat. But if Lloyd's were to fail, and you have the money in gold, or if you have gold with them, it won't really matter. Tony, when do you think we'll see interest rates increase? It's hard because we've had a bull market in bond prices since 1981. So that's like 39 years. And I think we're due to turn around. Difficult to say, though. I mean, we made a low in the 10-year yield in March, around 30 basis points. And I think we're now around 70 or 75 basis points. But difficult to say. I think it could be later this year if we have this second wave or a crash in the central banks, the Fed and the Treasury as well. They come out and say, we're going to bail people out even more. We're going to print even more money. The debt will go up even more. Well, because you need debt to issue the money, don't you? Then I could see investors losing faith in that this debt will ever be able to be paid in money that is worth anything. So I would say if I had to guess, in the next 6 to 12 months, we could see interest rates turn. Murray, thank you for your super chat. This is his savings, he says. Please hold and keep safe. I will. Thank you. Lucas Razor, for the first time home buyers here, do you see a potential window where house prices come down but fiat currency holds its value? I'm not sure where you are, Lucas, but I would say the opposite. I think house prices will remain, maybe in nominal terms, fairly steady, but as the currency goes down, those houses won't really be worth as much in terms of gold, for example. Mike Korn. Hi, Mike. Mike is in Sacramento, California. Yeah, the BIS is a big part of the New World Order, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Yeah, it is it's where the central bankers do their dirty work without getting caught. And what does that mean? Well, Mr. Powell, Miss Lagarde, uh, Andrew Bailey, Kuroda, they go to the BIS every 2 months. And when they travel to the BIS, they carry diplomatic passports, the BIS passports, and they're like immune from any law in any country, even though the BIS is in Basel, Switzerland. The BIS it is like a sovereign entity. They can hide anything, and that's where the Fed, Bank of England, the ECB, the BOJ, the Reserve Bank of Australia, they do all their dirty work through the BIS. And why is that possible? Well, because the BIS was created in 1930 through an international treaty. It was only supposed to help settle the German reparations from World War One. But these globalists, as we know, they use all these crises and institutions to kill loads of birds with one stone, so to speak. So the BIS, they they market themselves as being regulators, like research, but really they're just they do the dirty work for the central banks. And no national parliament or Congress can go to the BIS and ask for information about what the Fed's doing through them, because it's all secret and they don't have to. Not even the Swiss police can go into the BIS and investigate them unless it's a like a criminal activity. So that's how big they are, the BIS. They are the head of the snake of the central banking system. Yeah, the Bank of England was nationalized in 1946, but it's still being run by the private banks. You go into the Bank of England website, because I was looking at what they're doing in terms of educating the public, and I went in there yesterday and I clicked on one of their lessons, and it took me straight to the Economist website. So who do you think is still running the Bank of England? Well, it's the private bankers. Who owns the Economist? Well, the Rothschild family, the Agnelli family, the Fiat people who own Fiat in Italy, those kind of people. So yeah, they're nationalized on paper, but de facto they're still run by the private bankers, the Bank of England. Gaddafi killed for trying to print gold. I don't think he was trying to print gold. I think he was trying to issue a gold dinar and to set up a monetary system for the whole of Africa. That's why they got rid of him. More thumbs up for Mario, says Jeff Yu. Yeah, that would be good. Shane Sturgis, the UK will become a nation of renters for the first time in my life. It looks like it, Shane. It's a shame. I mean, one of the reasons I came to live in England in 1992, I had a good job in Geneva, in the sector that I wanted to work in finance, and I got offered a good job as well in the city of London. But I probably wouldn't have come here if I didn't think England was more like the US, where you had more of a common law mentality, where someone was not guilty until proven guilty. And that attracted me to come to this country as well. But I think that's all going out the window right now, unless the people wake up and stop buying into this health crisis, unless they stop being so divided as well. Yeah, it's a shame. Golden Gate, do you think Antifa, BLM will ever protest Federal Reserve and loot their building in DC? Yeah, I don't think so, because they're financed by the people who own the Federal Reserve. So they'll never go for them. And I would say there's not much to be looted from the Federal Reserve. They're not a real bank. They don't have any gold. They only got gold certificates. I agree. So that I don't see the chance of that happening, unfortunately. Not that I condone looting. Jung Jung C says James 5:3, your gold and silver are corroded, their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Um, I guess in the Bible, gold and silver are meant to be money. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, could it be that the fiat money is corroded? Um, who knows? Yeah, the thing is, in the Bible, Jung, I don't think they ever thought we'd have a system that we have now. So I don't know. I'd rather have gold than paper money. And gold doesn't corrode, does it? Maybe silver a little bit gets tarnished. Even though I would say, um, as things are right now, yes, it's nice to have precious metals. They have held their value well, but I'd probably give up some of my precious metals if people were going to wake up, if it meant people waking up and discrediting all this health crisis. I would, because it's nice to be comfortably safe financially, but if you can't live as you used to, it's not great either. But I'd rather have though the precious metals and be in this position than have no precious metals. The other thing people need to think about is that being in the system is not just having the paper money, it's also like playing their game by borrowing and being having a lot of debt. I think that's not good either. Pasajero del Toro, what are your thoughts on the ancient tally system? Yeah, the tally sticks were very interesting, uh, and I think they were around for a long time. But I think after the 1660s, after the revolution in I think they call it the Great Revolution in England, the bankers took over. Um, I think they came a lot from Holland. The bankers, but the tally sticks are they're interesting because they're issued by the government, so not the bankers. So yeah, interesting. The tally sticks. They're basically like the I would say the greenbacks that were issued during the Civil War or the Continentals. I guess if it's done prudently, it's a good thing. But the bankers don't like it. They never probably bring it back. I still believe more in the money of the market. I don't think the monarch or the state should have a monopoly on money, and the tally stick is a bit of that, in my opinion. That's right. No, it's fake money. Susan Chapel, silver for food, gold for bigger items. Yeah, silver is always good for change and daily transactions, and gold more for savings and bigger transactions. The Market for Liberty. No, I haven't read that, Bowman. Sorry, I haven't. I'll have a look though. Golden Gate. I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I'm not really involved in buying precious metals in the state. App Max. I don't know if they keep track of your purchases. The Dow. Where's the Dow? Let's see. We have a weekend pricing here. The futures open at 11 p.m. London, so that's 6 p.m. New York. Right now, they have a weekend Dow. I have it down 166 points, so it could change significantly. Pesky chicken, what percentage of your net worth would be a reasonable target for allocating physical precious metals? The way I look at it, pesky chicken, is that you have to think about gold and silver as savings. So, how much savings would you want to have? That's the way I look at it, and it's different for everyone, right? Xenor Man, thank you for your super chat. Shout out for Tally, alternative mainstream currency based on gold. One tally equals 1 milligram of gold. All right, I'll look into that. Is there a website or is it just called Tally? Bilbo Stackings, thanks for all the great content you put out. I listen to you on my way to work every morning. Oh, you're welcome, Bilbo, and thank you for following my work. Mr. Guppy, can you make a poll for your channel in the community page? See how many people own physical gold and silver over paper. Yeah, I'll look into that. I haven't done a poll before, but I will look into it. Cardinal Sin is bought BP shares of British Petroleum. I think they pay. I'm not sure if they're still paying the dividend. So they used to pay good dividend. Tom Taylor, thank you for your super chat. Debt Jubilee, Susan Chappell asks, I think the way they're going to do the debt jubilee is through debasing the currency, making the debt and the money become worth less and less versus real things. I don't really think they plan to write off debts, but that's not a impossibility, though. I've heard that the German public and even the German establishment is seriously considering calling for like a conference, maybe in a couple of years or next year, to write off a lot of the Italian debt. So that is possible. Yeah, because we have a lot of debt right now. It doesn't make sense, a debt jubilee, because I think the central bankers, if they wanted a debt jubilee, they wouldn't be doing all the QE and all the programs that they're doing. Governments wouldn't be issuing the debt. Maybe down the road, but I would say that it would be more through the inflating of the system, debasing the currency. Cardinal Sin, it's a total gamble. Jack B, then the books balance. Yeah, I think the way to balance the books financially for sovereign countries, as Jim Sinclair says, is through the price of gold. Gold will do that. If you revalue the price of gold higher, you write off a lot of the debt and you create a lot of inflation by doing that. So that's why I think another reason to have gold, because it could be like their last tool, their desperation is their desperation play will be gold. That's always something they could use, because sovereign countries still own about 35,000 tons of gold. And I think the amount of gold out there total is almost 200,000 tons. So they still own a good percentage of it. And that's why I think China and Russia have been buying a lot of gold, because they see this coming. Oil stocks, uranium. Yeah, no, I don't really follow those markets as much. But I think looking at commodities in general, not just gold and silver, they're way undervalued. They're the most undervalued versus like the stock market or paper assets for like over 100 years. So I think in relative terms, they could do well versus the stock market. Golden Gate, when do you think US dollar will lose world reserve currency status? I think it will be a while yet, even though I think the other currencies are going to become more relatively more important, like the euro and the renminbi. So I think right now, other countries hold around 60% or just above that of world reserves are held in dollars. So I think we could be in a world where it's 40% dollars, maybe 20% euro, and 20% renminbi, and then 10% other currencies like the Swiss franc, the pound, and the yen. So I think the dollar will still be a very important currency, but it just won't be as important as it's now. And what that will mean a higher cost of living for Americans because there will be less demand for dollars. So the dollar will be worth less, and that's inflation. And you also will have higher interest rates. But the most important currency to have, though, even though it's not used as a currency, and it would be if there weren't legal tender laws all around, is still gold and silver, though. We need to be on a gold and silver standard ourselves, unless you want to be part of the sheeple and stay in the paper. Yeah, Jack B, Klaus Schwab. I've done a couple of videos about this guy. uh, I did one a couple of days ago, a part two. So look in my channel and yeah, uh, search under videos for Great Reset or Fourth Industrial Revolutions. I've done a couple of videos. And I also even wrote an article about the origins of the World Economic Forum in my blog, maneco64 .net. It's quite interesting if you look at the origins. You'll be probably not be surprised where these people originate from. Uh, Gold and silver mining stocks, yeah, I think they're going to do well as as the price of gold and silver continue to go up. You got to do a lot of research. It's not just buying; it's different than buying just the physical gold and silver. You got to look at the management. You got to look at the properties, whether it's a exploration or a senior mining company that was already producing, where they are, the political risks. But yeah, they will do really well, and there's a lot of different mining stocks out there to choose from. Short selling, Drax. I'm not. Is that an ETF? I don't know. Uh, yeah, you got to be careful as well with the when you're trading. I think with counterparty risk, most people think brokers are immune to. They're not like banks, but they are. Look at MF Global. So be careful. I'll take a couple of more questions and then we'll call it a day. We're almost at an hour. Yeah, Dave Humphreys, he is expecting a sell-off. Charles Nenner. When do you think petrodollar system will fall apart? Well, I think it's already, it's just, I've made quite a few videos over the last few years about the petrodollar, and I think it's becoming less and less important, less and less powerful. And I actually think all the political division in the US could be detrimental to the petrodollar. Um, yeah, we're seeing that President Trump is having a lot of division, not only in the public realm, but within the military realm. So I think that's not a good thing either for the petrodollar, because the armed forces are very important to the petrodollar. And if the president doesn't have control of the armed forces, that's not a good thing. So, yeah, you need to keep an eye on that, I think. But also, countries like Russia, China, Venezuela, Iran, they all want to be less dependent on the dollar. So, and even other countries, because the dollar is using the petrodollar as a weapon, political weapon, and the petrodollar should be a commercial instrument. So I think the Americans, unfortunately, or the people in charge of the petrodollar, are shooting themselves in the foot. Mike Korn, what's your favorite ice cream flavored when in a cone? We all need to know. Uh, I like the chocolate chip. No, what is it? It's I just like, they call it the 99p ice cream here in the UK. It's just like a cream with a chocolate stick on it. The 99p. It costs a lot more than 99p though now. Billy for president. Yeah, Billy 2020. Billy Bullion. Yeah, mint chocolate chip. I like all ice cream. So I shouldn't really eat that much ice cream. Exchanging savings from euros to Swiss francs. Um, I don't know. The Swiss, the Swiss have Swiss central bank is gone quite mad as well. So they're both currencies that I don't really rate that much. I'd rather have gold than either euros or Swiss francs. Yeah, Billy will run on a silver cross. That reminds me of was it McKinley or the other guy that was running about against McKinley? I forgot. On the gold cross of gold, Billy will run on a cross of silver. I don't have Bowman. I don't have a post office box, and I don't really want to give my address online. But yeah, Trump's limp. Is he limping? I don't know. Maybe he tripped playing golf. I'm not sure. Mining stock. Well, I have. I bought some GDX and GDXJ, and I have a Tanzanian royalty TRX. That's the only mining stocks I have right now. All right. Thank you again for showing up and all your support, all your questions, and your interest in the channel. And I wish you all a great rest of the weekend, a great Monday, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.